When is Bitcoin heading back to all-time highs? I've been pretty vocal about my call for a $225,000 Bitcoin by the summer next year. But can we get back to all-time highs by the end of 2020? I teamed up with the guys from the Crypto Busy YouTube channel to pick their brains on when we can expect the Bitcoin bull rally to launch. Let's get it. Hey guys, today I'm pleased to be joined by the guys from the Crypto Busy channel, another YouTube channel about cryptocurrency you guys can check out. I'll have the link down in the description. Joined by both the guys here today. How are you guys doing?
Hi
Ben, we're really
doing
good,
well.
thanks. Yeah, definitely. Excited to be here.
So we're real excited. We want to talk about Bitcoin today because obviously, you know, we love talking altcoins on this channel. And if you guys want to check out a video of me talking altcoins with Crypto Busy channel, you guys can check out the video on their channel that I'm doing with them as well. But today we're going to talk about Bitcoin because we all know the entire market hinges on Bitcoin. And it's getting to a point where it's pretty exciting. And we're looking at prospects of where Bitcoin can go. And I just want to take the chance to get some other creators' opinions about where Bitcoin is going to go. So let's first start with the short term. Where do you guys think Bitcoin is going to be, let's say, by the end of the year?
Yeah, sure. So by the end of the year, I mean, obviously we could go conservative or we could go crazy with it. I mean, crazy, we see a lot of these predictions as, you know, the one you covered recently, even by the end of a few weeks, apparently 75K might happen, which is, you know, outlandish to say the least. But for the end of the year, I could see from a technical point of view, maybe staying around that 12 to 20K mark. But I think if we do break through that kind of mental block resistance, we might see even some manipulation in there as well, as, you know, we've seen all the time. We could easily see ourselves pushing back to those highs of 20K, if not further, once the ball gets rolling.
And I think on my side, I think I'm looking at sort of the 15K mark by the end of the year in terms of the technicals. And, you know, if there's a bull run involved, then we're looking at all-time highs. So we're looking sort of the 20K region itself. It's exciting times. So that's where I'm sort of sitting at the moment.
Hopefully it's going to be exciting at least, right?
yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really torn on one or two sides. And we were actually chatting a little bit before we started the interview. Like, my whole thing about a short-term prediction by the end of the year is once Bitcoin gets over 12K, like, where is it going to stop? You know, it's just going to be kind of like a Price is Right game. I don't know if you guys have the Price is Right over where you guys are. Yeah, but you know, there's all kinds of pricing games. You're figuring out, you know, where's the price going to stop? And, you know, I don't know where Bitcoin's going to stop because I firmly believe that once we get, you know, over 12K, especially over 15K, I just can't see a place that people are going to be like, okay, well, now let's chill. You know, like back in the last halving cycle, after the 2016 halving, you know, people didn't really have the kind of high hopes for where Bitcoin was going to go like they do now, or else there would have been, you know, more people making money back then. So what do you guys see? What do you guys see a major resistance point for Bitcoin being, you know, throughout the rest of this year?
So yeah, throughout the rest of this year, again, the 12K, as you mentioned, that is kind of mental and technical resistance, and that's going to be the main one we have to tackle. Obviously, we've seen 10K acting as some pretty violent resistance there as we broke above, and then literally, you know, Bart Simpson charted it right back down into like 9,400 or whatever it was. So I think breaking and closing and holding above the 10K is going to be the first major step we have to take. Before then we can look to the 12K region. We'll probably see some pullbacks on the way in a healthy, that's what I kind of want to see. I want to see healthy growth. I don't want to just see shoot up, because then most likely it's just going to shoot back down again. So a nice healthy trend would be good to see. And then more longer term, as you said, if someone looks at a chart, 20K is the highest point there is on Bitcoin. There's no more resistance levels after that. So from a technical standpoint, people can't start placing lines of resistance because there's nowhere to look. So that's why it's going to get even more exciting then, and it's going to kind of just be even more of a guessing game, I guess.
And I think I'm just building on top of that. And what happened back in 2017 in going into 2018 with the bull run, and the last one we had, you know, it just kept on going in such a short space of time. And so that's sort of, in a way, unhealthy. So seeing that sort of healthy, steady growth over time with a few pullbacks here and there, it'd be great to see. And then again, on top of that, from the technical standpoint, no ceiling in terms of where it could go. So again, it's exciting times, but there are going to be some resistance along the way. I'm sure there'll be people, you know, have their own opinions about where it could go, and their own ways and in terms of where Bitcoin could eventually go itself. So it's, certainly exciting times.
Yeah. So for me, for the end of the year, like in the short term, kind of looking at where the price can be, I expect Bitcoin to hit all-time highs this year. I really do. I think by the end of the year, I mean, we're going into late fall probably, into winter, around December. I think that we could, November traditionally has been one of the best months for Bitcoin. So I can definitely see, the price hitting all-time highs in November. And then I think it's going to shoot way past all-time highs. I put it probably somewhere between 30 and 40K by the end of the year. But interestingly enough, the way that I see things playing out are, kind of like, what you were mentioning about the price going up with no resistance and, kind of people getting really excited about it and like where it's going to stop, but we don't want it to go too quick. I think it is going to go too quick. So I kind of actually, see the price shooting way up, like maybe to 40, maybe to 50K, then dropping off like a cliff back down.
And that could most likely happen. Yeah. But why do you mention sort of the November figure? Is that because, people are going back home for Christmas and Thanksgiving and things like that? Is end of the year? Is that sort of like a psychological thing? What's the November thing?
Well, it's interesting because obviously the halving cycles are not exactly 4 years, right? So we know that. So the dates are going to be off a little bit between like, where the cycle compares to the time of the year. Okay. But regardless of all that, we've still seen like April. I think April has generally been one of the worst months for Bitcoin. I think if I remember an article I reported on, January has been a traditionally good month. November has also been the best month traditionally, even though, we did have the huge crash in November back in 2019. So I don't know, it's kind of like horoscope signs, it's like there's just some things about some times of the year that tend to produce certain results. And so, that's why I think because November has traditionally been the best month for Bitcoin throughout its history, that I think that just kind of lines up with the excitement, the hype and things like that. So
stars aligned. Yeah.
There's nothing, it's not Thanksgiving. It's not people going home. It's not like people buying Christmas presents. It just seems to be that's the month. And so I can see that happening.
From a more fundamental perspective rather than just a technical perspective, with what's happened this year, the virus and everything like that, we've seen people kind of maybe getting a bit scared of the government, maybe potential overreach. We've seen people being scared of inflation and what was Bitcoin created for? I mean, it's supposed to be that kind of decentralized, non-government controlled, protected from inflation, that type of thing. And I think that's going to take people taking it a bit more seriously, not just seeing it as a get-rich-quick scheme, but more like, oh, hang on, this asset might actually have value here. We've seen, I think it was Andreessen Horowitz, that fund, they recently got a huge crypto fund. We've got that JP Morgan finally saying they don't hate it anymore or whatever. So I think we have these big players, institutional money, which is really what's going to drive the price, if we're being honest. Retail traders aren't really going to move the price. So I think institutional money is really going to come in, and that's where we're going to see those huge price spikes for sure.
Yeah, definitely the institutional money. And then also the idea of that it's a new asset class. And, whenever you have sort of social unrest or economic unrest, it's always flown into gold. It's gone from stocks and property into gold itself. And we're going to be seeing that, I think, in my opinion, certainly flow into Bitcoin as a safe haven asset, especially with inflation, social unrest, and also economic unrest as well. But we're going to be seeing that, I think, and that will help drive the price of Bitcoin into new high. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that institutional money is definitely going to, propel it forward. But I think that once it gets propelled forward, that's going to invite a lot of the retail investors in because, when you just look at numbers, population, percentage of people that use Bitcoin, if Bitcoin's ever going to be $100,000, if it's ever going to be $1 million one day, it's not just the institutional money. It's going to have that can help attract people to come invest in it. But the real use case of Bitcoin is a hedge. I mean, it's not just going to be for institutions, So
for sure.
I think it's definitely going to be probably a combination. Well, let's move a little longer term here. I want to know from your guys' perspective. We'll kind of wrap it up with this. What is your end of cycle prediction for Bitcoin? I want to know when you think this bull cycle is going to end, and I want to know what is the top out price you think it's going to be.
I will just put it out there. Okay, top out price. I think, in my opinion, it'll be six figures. So I'm thinking sort of the 250K mark. That sort of region.
Yeah. I mean, again, looking at it from two different perspectives, I think if this is something that is, as we said, propelled forward, adopted, it really does become household name. You know, people not just joking about Bitcoin, but people actually saying, "Oh yeah, I'm paying in Bitcoin," or "I use Bitcoin," or whatever other coin happens to be the method of payment. I think if we see that, then definitely a high six-figure, we're talking like 600-700K, could eventually be possible. And now in terms of timescale, it's so difficult to say, obviously, but you know, I'd be talking the next decade, like nothing in the next 1 or 2 years that high, in my opinion. But in terms of a more conservative bet, I'd say 100K is most likely achievable, in terms of, you know, achievable market cap, achievable even without the huge drive that investors would need to give it. I do think 100K is pretty realistic within a 3 to 5 year time span, if not before that. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely in sort of the six-figure region. Yeah, that's where I'm sort of like looking at. I know it's like a long.
That's really conservative.
I know it's a big, but it's in sort of that sort of region, six figures. It's from 100K to nearly a million. I realize that, but in terms of that sort of logarithmic scale, in terms of where it could go, I think that's where I'm sort of setting my sights on. And that's where I see it going.
Let's just hope it goes higher, to be honest. You know, I won't complain.
I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't complain if it's higher. Yeah.
Oh, you guys aren't the like, I want to accumulate more guy. I hate that guy. I'm like, can we just please stop saying every time the price goes down, oh, happy day, I want to accumulate more. Like, no, let's just go. Let's hit moon time. Okay?
Let's just do it.
Look,
we've had too much. We've had too much of that.
Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
We've had too much of the accumulate more. We need to get further. New highs.
Yeah, exactly. I'm all for that. Me personally, I have a prediction, and I'm just going to stick to it.
Go for it.
Throughout the whole thing, even though, you know, the Bitcoin stock to flow chart is now showing $290,000, $288,000. I said 225K, and that's what I'm going to stick with. And I'm going much shorter time frame. I'm going with by August of next year. So by May, I think we'll be hitting six figures. You know, that's when things should ramp up a year after the halving. And then I'm looking at August to be the end of the bull run, you know, completely. And we go, you know, into a hard bear winter, because that's just what we've seen over the history of Bitcoin.
We've always seen that. Yeah.
To think we're just going to keep going up, you know, even if it's a more prolonged, that's not what Bitcoin does.
No.
Bitcoin goes parabolic. And so that's what I believe is going to happen. 225K by next August. And then we'll probably collapse all the way back down probably to like 20K, you know, right back to the previous all-time highs. That's probably what I can kind of see. And then we'll go through the whole song and dance again. You know, you guys got to remember, you know, Bitcoin spends, you know, 3/4 of its time going up. It's just that 25% of the time that it goes down hard, and it goes down fast, and it goes, you know, to super low prices. So that's kind of the way I see things playing out. But I also do, as I mentioned earlier, I kind of see a mini bear cycle in this super cycle. You know, I kind of see getting to the end of the year, hitting all-time highs, then dropping back down, and then maybe, you know, kind of like similarly to what we saw in the March crash, about 2 months later, we will start going back up again. You know, maybe Bitcoin can prove its worth. But I just think it's hard for me to not see Bitcoin going up too fast at the beginning of this cycle compared to the last cycle. So
that's understandable.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. It's great to have this chat, bring in other creators, talk about the price of Bitcoin, where we think it's going. Thank you so much for joining us. And make sure, everybody, you guys head on over to their channel, Crypto Busy. I'm going to drop it down below in the description.
Thank you very much for having us.
Bye.
Thank you.